Qué rollo, quiero mandar un saludo a mi amigo Goodfella de parte de tu amigo Jaime Munguía. Un abrazo, carnal. Ánimo.
All right, man. Jose Benavidez, senior father and trainer David Benavidez, says that they gunning for Artur Beterbiev. Talked a little bit in an interview with ProBox about how the David Morrell fight happened. I guess the rumor was, Benavidez was supposed to fight Jesse Hart, and I guess, Benavidez wasn't feeling it, the fans wasn't feeling it. So his father said, he hit David Morrell's money line and said, let's get this fight going. He says, they've been trying to make this fight for 3 years, and that he thinks Morrell needs a little bit more seasoning. He said he think Morrell needed a little bit more seasoning to show the fans that he was worthy and all that stuff. So, says that, after they get done with David Morrell, that they want a gun for Artur Beterbiev, which in their case, if they do a rematch, you probably talk about somewhere at the earliest, the end of 2025. So they might have enough time with Beterbiev and Bivol's fighting, occurrences. They might have enough time to squeeze 2 fights in before the end, just to get the experience, So, but check out the Box News playlist, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and maybe, for the most part, they like what they saw. Maybe they like what they saw versus Beterbiev, and Benavidez is the younger fighter. Maybe they plan to beat Artur with speed and combination punching and some body work and all that type of stuff. So it'll get interesting if he can take the power. I mean, it's a good fight. It's a good fight for Artur. Put him on the American pedestal. It's a good fight for Benavidez. He able to beat him, more pressure on Canelo. To fight him, and he would have undisputed. The problem is people say, okay, we get you don't want to fight Artur Beterbiev for undisputed. He's a big, strong dude. What's the problem with fighting Benavidez? So, and that's assuming fighting Beterbiev, but Benavidez in that case. But then Beterbiev gotta have the titles and be willing to fight him. Same thing for Bivol. And I think both of them will be willing to fight him. I think Turkey Al-Sheikh could be willing to do that fight, and really a lot of it would be in spite Canelo ducking David Benavidez. So yeah, I would love to see it. I think the fans would love to see it, and they should do it. They should absolutely do it and make it happen. I like the competitiveness. I think the David Morrell fight is an interesting fight. I think that's a fight that he actually can lose. One thing about David Morrell, he might be, I think he got longer arms than Benavidez, which don't really mean nothing unless you know how to use it. And he might be, just as strong or physically as big as David Benavidez. Cuban amateur pedigree, didn't stay over there long, young enough, fresh enough, still look like he's 26, 27 years old. So, Benavidez can have his hands full. Yeah, Benavidez actually can have his hands full. He literally can have his hands full. So, I think this can get very, very interesting for him. I don't think this is no Jill Scott, let's take a walk in the park after dark. It's a good fight. So if he can prove himself and possibly get another solid opponent in there, I think, that'd be interesting. I know we was asking behind the scenes, having a conversation, how would he fare versus Anthony Yarde? Whenever Joshua Buatsi ready to step up, those are some good fights. I don't know if you want to fight a Lyndon Artur, to measure yourself with Bivol, but, after you fight Morrell, I think it'll be opportunity for another fight. So they should keep Benavidez as active as possible. They should keep him as active as possible. It make a lot of sense. It make a lot of sense. It make a lot of sense. So, but nonetheless, I like it. They going for undisputed, and they not backing down, and hopefully they can make the fight. But it's going to have to be with his youth, speed, range, combination punches. Working the body. You know, maybe even having to walk Beterbiev down, which sounds crazy, and push him on the back foot. But, you know, they claim Benavidez can box too. He gonna need to do some of that versus Beterbiev. You know, but if he come forward and he able to take the heat that Beterbiev dishing, that's gonna be a classic. They probably, Mexicans ain't claiming him right now, but after the fight, they'll be claiming him. You know, shit, Americans, Ecuadorians, Mexicans, everybody gonna be claiming him. They gonna be like, do you want to ride backseat? So yeah, that's a good little scrap. That's a good little scrap. Yeah, that's a good little scrap. So, good little scrap. But yeah, we gotta get past Morrell first. And if they get past Morrell, then Beterbiev and Bivol, they gotta figure it out. What if they have a rubber match? You know, so that's one thing about boxing. How erratic the fights are. You know, might fight once a year. You know, maybe one guy might pop up a fight 3 times a year. It's very erratic. You know, inconsistent. You know, and if you do have some consistency across the board, this dude's fighting once a year. Dude's fighting once a year. So, you know, this Beterbiev and Bivol thing. You know, I don't think all the titles gonna be on the line for another year, but it could carry out until 2026. So they're stripping before then, but it could carry out for a long time. Very well could. So, you know, so Benavidez got to be prepared with a plan B, C, D, E, F, G, the whole 9. So obviously Canelo plan A and Beterbiev and Bivol is behind that. Right now, you know, Morrell is the you know, he that guy. He's the priority. He's the number 1. But after that, you know, start thinking Yard, Buatsi, start looking at the rankings. If they strip them, if they go to a rubber match, they strip them of the belt. Start looking at it that way. Start looking at it that way. So, but you know, nonetheless, man, I think more time, Beterbiev getting older and injuries packing in. Like I said, that fight with Benavidez rematch or rematch to stretch out, you know, the better it is for Benavidez to develop his skill. But I think he got a chance versus Beterbiev. I think Beterbiev showed some sign of age and slowing down in that fight. So he definitely got a chance. So I think, you know, bringing it straight to Beterbiev, it might be something to that. You know, they said he can box, so even if he boxes, you know, it's going to be interesting. But his hand speed, you know, his youth is his advantage. And the question is, why won't Beterbiev land one of the body shots? Why won't he land on the chin? That's going to be the true test. He can take the punishment. Then the question is, can he hurt Beterbiev? Most people are going to be like, well, he couldn't hurt Alexander Gustafsson. The difference is, you know, Gustafsson came in heavy, but the difference is Beterbiev is a declining champion. That's the difference. He's a declining champion. You know, he's a declining champion. So that's the difference. But yeah, it's a good fight. Not sure it's the most lucrative fight in the world, but it's a fight that can kind of, you know, you get undisputed, you know, and, you know, Canelo kind of got to, you know, kind of forced to fight you at that point. Kind of forced to fight you. I like it when these dudes want to fight the belts. that to happen? That's the $1 million question. And at this point, I mean, you know, why not? You ain't got nothing else to lose. You might as well start throwing these top fighters and making the biggest fights possible and see if they can cash in. Even though their history is that they, you know, they crash out. They don't cash in, they crash out. So, you know, very, very interesting. But, you know, quite honestly, you know, I love it when you want to see a fighter want to fight the best. You know, even though they could be 6 months out from this next fight, it could be a year out. It's all contingent on health and what they all got cooking up for other fights, rematches and rubber matches and all that. So and easily David Morrell can beat them. So thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Get all notifications. Increase your chance get notifications. We go live or drop video. Financially, want to support the channel. Cash App, $CJ3, Venmo CJ3, PayPal link in the